Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of English at Work. I'm Mr. Jack, and today I've got my amazing co-host Anna here with me.
Hi everyone, so excited to be here. Thanks for joining us.
You know, before we jump into today's awesome topic, we'd really love it if you could hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. Seriously, it helps us so much. And hey, if you want to be part of our learning community, just leave a comment below. Tell us what you want to learn about next. We read every single one.
Yes, and if you're feeling good about this episode, share it with your friends who are learning English. Help them level up their business English game.
Exactly. Okay, now that we've got that out of the way, let's talk about something that literally everyone deals with at work. Anna, what are we covering today?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked. Today, we're talking about how to navigate the English language in a professional workplace. You know, from sending emails that don't sound weird to actually participating in meetings without wanting to hide under your desk.
Oh man, I love that. So real. I think a lot of people feel super anxious about this stuff, right? They're worried about making mistakes.
Totally. But here's the thing. Most people are way too hard on themselves. Even native speakers make mistakes in emails and meetings. The important thing is just communicating clearly and being professional about it.
That's such a good point. Okay, so let's start with something everyone does almost every single day. Emails. Anna, how many emails would you say you read in a week?
Oh gosh, probably hundreds. And you know what? I still see people struggling with the basics. Like they don't know how to write a professional greeting, or they're way too casual, or sometimes they're way too stiff and formal.
Yes, that's the balance, isn't it? Finding that sweet spot between professional and friendly. So let's give our listeners some actual examples. If you're writing to someone you don't know very well, maybe someone more senior, how do you start that email?
Great question. So you'd want to start with Dear Mr. Smith or Dear Ms. Johnson. If it's someone you know a bit better, you could do hi and then their name. Super simple, but here's the key. Never, ever just jump into your request or message. You want to acknowledge them first.
Right, like don't just blast them with a wall of text.
Exactly. Something like, Hi Sarah, I hope you're having a great week. I wanted to reach out about the project update. See, that's warm, it's professional, and it sets a nice tone.
I love that. And then what? How do you actually structure the email?
So you've got your greeting, then you might have a sentence or two of relationship building, then you get into your main point. And here's something important. Be clear about what you want. Don't make people guess.
What do you mean, don't make people guess?
Like, if you're asking for a decision or an action, spell it out. Say something like, could you please review this document by Friday, instead of just sending the attachment and hoping they figure out what you need.
Oh, that's so practical. And then how do you close an email? Because I think people get stuck on that too.
You know, it depends on the relationship. With someone more senior or formal, something like best regards or sincerely is great. With people you know better, thanks so much or all the best works perfectly.
And then you sign your name.
Exactly. Your full name and maybe your title and contact information if it's your first time reaching out to that person.
Okay, so emails. We've got that sorted. But let's talk about something that makes a lot of people nervous. Phone calls. International phone calls in English. Anna, you do a lot of those, right?
I really do. And honestly, they stressed me out when I first started. The thing about phone calls is you can't see the person's face, so you can't read their body language. You have to rely completely on your voice and your words.
So how do you prepare for a phone call?
Great question. First, I write down 3 or 4 key points I want to cover. Nothing crazy, just bullet points. Then I take a few deep breaths. And here's something that really helps. Smile. Even though they can't see you, they can hear the smile in your voice.
That's so true. What about when you answer a phone at work?
Okay, so if someone's calling you, you want to greet them professionally. Something like, Hi, this is Anna speaking. How can I help you? Or, Thanks for calling. This is Anna. Keep it simple, keep it friendly.
And if you need to put them on hold or transfer them?
Perfect example. You want to ask first, would you mind holding for just 1 moment? And then don't make them wait forever. If it's going to be more than a minute, let them know what's happening.
That's professional and considerate. I like it. Okay, so we've covered emails and phone calls. Let's talk about meetings, because meetings are a whole different beast, aren't they?
Oh man, meetings. Okay, so a lot of people, especially if English isn't their first language, they sit in meetings and don't say anything. They're listening, they're understanding, but they're scared to contribute.
What's your advice for that?
Prepare ahead of time. If you know what the meeting is about, think about one or two things you could say, even if it's just a question or a comment on something someone else said. Then, during the meeting, give yourself permission to speak.
How do you actually jump into a conversation, though? Like, what do you say?
So there are some great phrases for this. You could say, "Can I add something?" Or, "I'd like to share a thought on that." If you want to build on what someone said, you could say, "That's a great point, and I think we should also consider it's collaborative, it's polite, and it shows you're engaged."
I love that. What about if you disagree with someone?
Excellent question, and this is important because you want to disagree respectfully. Instead of saying, "That won't work," you could say, "I see your point, but I'm wondering if we could also explore another option." It's the same disagreement, but it's respectful and it keeps the conversation constructive.
That's really smart. So we're talking about soft language that doesn't shut people down.
Exactly. You can be firm and professional without being rude or aggressive. It's all about the way you frame things.
Perfect. Okay, so let's touch on presentations because that's another thing that scares people.
Oh yes, giving a presentation in English, a lot of people panic, but honestly, it's actually easier than you think if you practice a little bit.
What's the number one thing you tell someone who's about to give their first presentation in English?
Know your material. Seriously, if you know what you're talking about, you're going to feel more confident, and that confidence is going to come through when you speak. You don't need perfect English. You need clear, organized thoughts.
And how do you organize a presentation?
Keep it simple. You've got your introduction, where you say what you're going to talk about. Then you've got your main points. 3 is a good number. And then you've got your conclusion, where you summarize what you've said and maybe ask for questions.
What about when someone asks you a difficult question?
If you don't understand, ask them to repeat it. There's no shame in that. You could say, "Can you rephrase that?" Or, "Can you give me an example of what you mean?" If you don't know the answer, it's okay to say so. "That's a great question. I'll look into that and get back to you." People actually respect honesty.
Yeah, that's so true. You're not supposed to know everything. Okay, I want to talk about something that's super practical: job titles and office vocabulary. Anna, this is something a lot of people don't focus on enough, but it's really important.
So important. Like, you need to know the difference between a manager and a supervisor, or a director and an executive. It matters because it affects how you communicate with them.
Right, so walk us through some common ones.
Okay, so at the entry level, you've got interns and assistants. They're usually people new to the company or new to the workforce. Then you've got coordinators and analysts. They're doing actual work in their department. Moving up, you've got supervisors and managers. They're responsible for a team. Even higher, directors and executives. They're responsible for bigger sections of the company. And at the top, you've got the CEO or the president.
That's helpful. And then there's all the different departments, right?
Right, so you might work in human resources, which handles hiring and employee stuff. Finance or accounting handles money. Marketing creates ads and brand stuff. Sales sells products or services. Operations keeps everything running smoothly. And IT takes care of technology.
And knowing these helps you understand the company better and communicate with different people appropriately.
Exactly. Like if you're talking to someone in HR, you might discuss benefits or policies. If you're talking to someone in sales, you might discuss revenue or targets.
Super helpful. Okay, last thing I want to touch on, building confidence, because I think that's really what this all comes down to, right?
100%. You can know all the right phrases and structures, but if you're not confident, it doesn't come through. So here's what I tell people. First, accept that you're going to make mistakes. Everyone does. Second, practice. Find a language partner, watch videos, listen to podcasts, immerse yourself in English.
And third?
Third, celebrate small wins. Like if you successfully made a phone call in English, that's awesome. If you asked a question in a meeting, that's amazing. Give yourself credit for these things. Building confidence is a journey, not a destination.
I love that. And you know what? I think our listeners are going to find this so helpful.
I really hope so. And if anyone has questions or topics they want us to cover next, please leave a comment. We love hearing from you guys.
Seriously, your feedback helps us make better content, so hit that subscribe button, leave a like, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Thanks so much for listening, everyone. Keep practicing, stay confident, and remember, you're doing better than you think.
See you next time.